think will let them discuss. And I think smart media organizations must move to be a model of be part of and participate. And I think this is where you guys come in. Because they need you for their news gathering. They need what you have to say to embrace, such as Al Jazeera did with Ushahadi, with Twitter, with all these tools. Because otherwise, within a year, the media organizations that don't do that will look shallow and empty and unrepresentative and boring. And those that do will look dynamic and vibrant and will really look like they've got their fingers on the pulse of what's going on in the world. Now, for the mainstream media, the basics do not change. They've got to deliver accurate, balanced, objective, fair, impartial news based on sourced and verified facts. News is not about my opinion. News is about what has happened. Fact, fact, fact. Who, why, when, where, what, how. Subject, verb, object. No padding, no clever words, no trying to hide the facts by being smart with language. Just getting information to users in the most effective, efficient, and elegant manner. That's what journalism's all about. We're a news factory. We churn out facts. And the facts cannot just be limited to where we have bureaus, where traditional media have stringers or correspondents. The bloggers and the tweeters supply the facts. So the challenge for you guys, I think, is keep experimenting. I don't think any blog should go more than a couple of weeks without starting to look radically different by looking at the innovative new ways there are to tell that story. Because if we do, if the bloggers stop and say, oh, my site's lovely, I'm really happy with it now, it's perfect, they'll die like traditional media may, because they'll not be moving, because it's moving too fast. It's moving at such a rate, we all have to move along with it. I think bloggers must continue to challenge those in authority. There are some countries where it's not possible to challenge those in authority without getting shot or without losing your job. But the bloggers can do that. An authority is, this isn't an anarchist talking. This is those who presume to have authority over our lives. The bloggers, in the true term of freedom of expression, are there to inform the public debate with opinions that test authority. I think blogs should stretch the mind. I like reading the sort of blogs that make me think, oh, I'm just going to have to read that again. It's like a great chapter in a book when you've read it and you think it's so moving that you just have to stop a moment and read it again. We've got to stretch the mind, challenge people's thinking. We've got to keep sharing. I think if blogging was done as a solitary exercise with no sharing, then bloggers could be silenced quite easily. The point about sharing and tagging is making sure that we do it together, that we share our information. My site, Media Helping Media, started it as a blog, then made it a resource for journalists, then just whatever changes, people can change it. I've now got people helping me. It's all about sharing information and making sure that whatever you say, people can reuse. I don't believe in holding on to the intellectual property. Creative Commons license, just take it, use it, cut it up, rework it, share it, get the information out there. It's a great thing about sort of letting loose to hold tight. You know, if you let loose of what you've got, you get lots more back, and people will share with you. So, on the horizon for e-thinkers, I think you are the media. I think the separation fractured years ago, and I think that we've got to look at groups like this, who, when you think about it, are writing for the love of it. Not necessarily writing because they're going to get a big paycheck or some favors. So thank you for your attention and time. Very happy to take any questions. There's a microphone coming around, so if you can put your hand up first, thanks.
Okay, hello, Yuruko from Bulgaria. My question is the following. About the other side of the fence, the official institutions, those who think they have the authority, basically, we, like free thinkers and so on, but they also have a lot of resources and a lot of manpower. And we have a lot of examples of cases in which the government basically hires a PR agency specifically that target social networks and blogs. Yeah. We have had such examples in Bulgaria also. And it's very hard to battle exactly those cases because they are spread out very everywhere, basically. And they put out wrong information. We also have some examples in Iran where I think somebody here told me that story that they put out tweets that supporters gathering somewhere in a rally, and so that they can catch them, basically. So they put out wrong information, they put out propaganda in the same way that we provide information. Do you think that we, free bloggers and thinkers, can battle that, basically, using the same means?
I think what you've identified has always been there. What's changing is that the bloggers and the people tweeting, there's more people now putting information out. It's very hard to silence that growing mass of people. During the Gaza dispute, the Hamas and the IDF, the Israeli Defense Force, were active on Twitter, using Twitter to get their message out. And I think we have to say that if we are true believers in freedom of expression, propaganda, as distasteful as it may be, will have to coexist with the truth, whatever that is. And there's a mix going on. My own belief, having seen what happened in Georgia and other countries recently with the strength of people tweeting, is that it sort of comes to the head. People start to know what to trust, and it gets labeled as such. But you are right. There will be people who are well-organized, well-resourced, who can silence by mass. But I don't think they can always silence that one voice. It's what I said in the last slide. Keep sharing and tagging. Follow as many people, share as much, so people realize what you stand for. When you saw the slide of the BBC, they now know. The BBC and CNN and Al Jazeera and France 24 will have a list of trusted bloggers, tweeters who over a period of time have shown that on the majority of occasions they've been right, they've been truthful, accurate. And that will come to the surface. But I think we're seeing an evolution here, and we just need to keep watching it and see how it plays out.
Yeah, I'm Enrito from Estonia. Now, you've talked about all these people who started out as bloggers, and you yourself keep saying that eventually they become journalists. Now, you've also mentioned how bloggers will be in places where traditional media won't have stringers or correspondents. Now, at some point, bloggers who have enough of a track record and enough of a voice, they stop being bloggers. In fact, they become stringers in pretty much the most classic sense, because stringers, A, have always been some of the most serious and most respected journalists, and B, there have always, before the internet, been stringers who are locals living there and just contributing their information to mainstream media.
Yeah, that'll happen. You'll have people who are bloggers who, mainstream media will pick up a piece, publish them, they'll become flattered, they'll get carried away with their own success, and they may change. And it happens, you'll get journalists who start as I did. I started as a journalist to dig where others don't, to uncover, to shine a light on, all those marvelous, ambitions you start with. But over time, you get tired, you do a desk job. Everyone, the challenge is to keep fresh. The challenge is to keep fresh. And there will be people who are lost along the way. There will be people who will join and start writing. There'll be people who stand firm and keep shining a light and keep telling the truth. You can't, that's the evolution. I think like with the previous question, we're in a period now where it can't really yet be written down and constrained by words. We can't say, this is how it looks like. This is the definition of a blogger. This is their lifespan. We're talking about a changing audience behavior, a changing behavior on behalf of the mainstream media, and a changing behavior on behalf of those who want to keep it all quiet. And so we've got to keep changing. A conference like this has got to keep meeting. You've got to say, that wasn't that and done. It's not now done. It's a matter of working together and evolving it and seeing.
Julian Frisch, a Euroblogger. Most